just across the country, fresh voices, women's voices. I add to Tanya as well as Mpho, potentially tomorrow in eThekwini. Nicole Graham may also be amongst those. And of course, the Deputy Mayor and Deputy Speaker out in Nelson Mandela Bay, even though they held on to the ANC. And then again, fresh colours, big wins for the DA in winning those mayorships, Johannesburg, Ekurhuleni, and Cape Town. We'll talk about how that happened. And potentially, we'll see what happens in Tshwane. And then, of course, the EFF won power. Massive power. Far and away the biggest winner out of all of these coalition, or at least hung council discussions. And interesting, because the only of the three big parties to actually gain overall from 2016 elections. So they're doing their job, I suppose. And then, of course, ActionSA wins as well, alongside the EFF from a power perspective, because where they go, he will go. Or where he goes, they will go. He's very clear. If you're going to talk to us about any partnerships in the councils, you bring us along, certainly with respect to Johannesburg. But the question that remains for me is, did the voter win? I know women won. I know in various ways DA, EFF, ActionSA won. And I know the freshness of voices won. But did the voter win? Because if elections are about promises made and promises kept, how should we be assessing these successes? Is it for the ANC or for the EFF that the win is, or is it supposed to be for me? And what does that mean for the future of local government elections and the future of various metros and my experience as a ratepayer or resident? If I'm an ANC voter, I lost. I was promised that we were going to hold power in certain metros, unless maybe Nelson Mandela Bay you think is a quasi-win, actually, because the DA was working very hard there. But essentially, not much of a win for an ANC voter, and probably deserved. If I'm an EFF voter, they promised to remove the ANC. And that promise was kept. They voted with what they are aware is a clear enemy with the DA for those mayoral seats, especially in Gauteng, but they kept the promise they made to the voter. So if I went to the ballot box and I said, EFF, I want you to do what you say, which is to remove the ANC, they did that. I would say the same for ActionSA. If I'm an ActionSA voter, I won. The promise was to unseat the ANC, and they've been very open from the beginning that we will work with anyone. I won as an ActionSA voter. If I'm a Democratic Alliance voter, I was promised that they were going to keep the ANC and EFF out of the major metros, NMB, Johannesburg, Ekurhuleni, Tshwane, and obviously the Western Cape. That's a win. Or at least Cape Town. But by derailing coalition discussions over the weekend and fighting for their own desires, which was we don't want to work with the EFF. We don't want to work with ActionSA. We lost IFP and PA support. They went against what they promised, which was not to work with the ANC and to unseat the ANC. They were on the brink of bringing the ANC back into power. And it took the EFF forcing this upon them by voting for their mayoral candidates to keep them honest with the voter. And I think that's something we probably need to think about going forward. But the one thing that I won if I was a voter, across the board, whoever you voted for, was sweeping change. It won't be perfect. It will be creaky. But as I look toward 2024, if I am any one of these members, opposition party heads, it is a very real possibility that if I act maturely in each of these partnerships in each metro and really show you some kind of delivery committed to the voter, I have a very real chance of playing for the big union building seat in 2024. And I feel very strongly about that.
Breakfast with Refilwe Moloto
on Cape Talk.